Hey, what's up, everybody? It's just Charles Sabanson, and welcome you guys to another episode of the DREAMERSPRO show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And today we got a very serious show for you guys. Before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. So I came across an article today that really surprised me, because I generally don't follow these kind of things. I don't, as I said before, I'm not a football guy. I don't really follow football, so these things usually escape me. But I came across an article today from Awful Announcing with the headline stating, Ryan Clark issues apology for interaction with Peter Schrager. And I'm like, okay, what are we talking about here? Now, as you guys know, Ryan Clark recently got his contract extended by ESPN, I think about less than a year or so ago. I forgot what the numbers were, but I know he got a contract extension. I remember him talking about it prior to the extension, that he wanted an extension. He believed he had warranted one and all that. So he got an extension with them, right? And I usually come across Ryan Clark content when he's on like First Take talking basketball. I don't really watch any football. So this was something that slipped through the cracks and I was totally unaware of, right? But apparently he had a moment on there where he called out the moderator and basically tried to, in a nice way, basically say, you're not qualified to be having this conversation with us. So I want to quickly just give you guys a backdrop of this before we get to his sound. It says, ESPN NFL analyst Ryan Clark apologized for what he said to Peter Schrager on Friday's episode of Get Up. While discussing Thursday night's game between the Dallas Cowboys and Philadelphia Eagles, the Get Up cast discussed the performance of Dallas star receiver CeeDee Lamb and his Philadelphia counterpart, A.J. Brown. During the discussion, Clark dismissed one of Schrager's arguments, saying it was the non-player in you, which Schrager took exception to. So what we want to do is want to play what Ryan had to say initially, and then want to come back and continue on with the show. Take a listen to him here.
Wake up this morning. Are you feeling okay? You look at A.J. Brown, which is this number one wide receiver who got one target all night, and then you got CeeDee Lamb.
But that's the when was the one target?
That's the target. But
though.
I'm saying
when was the one target?
I'm saying you could have it both ways.
54 seconds left in the game on 2nd and 11. It was the one target. He runs the out route.
You wake up this morning saying A.J. Brown had a better day than CeeDee Lamb.
But you know what you wake up saying though? A.J. Brown's team is 1-0.
Of course.
Right, like that's what
I get it.
But the thing is this though, and we shouldn't do this on TV, and so I apologize if people think this is rude. That's the non-player.
Oh, stop! CeeDee Lamb is.
Let me tell you why. I'm not looking at
fantasy football, Ryan. I'm not. Don't belittle me like that. I could come in and say, as 3 ex-players are saying one thing, and give an alternative perspective that maybe CeeDee Lamb did play well. And
Peter, what I need for you to do is not get mad and let me finish for one.
Okay, go on.
It wasn't about you. It was going to be about me.
Okay.
As a player, I can't speak for CeeDee Lamb.
So you heard the interaction there. So it continues on. It says, on Friday night, while sharing his thoughts about the Brazil game between Kansas City and Los Angeles Chargers on X, Clark issued an apology. And we want to read the apology here for you guys now, so you guys can actually see it for yourself. So he said, today I had an interaction with my colleague, both on and off the air, that I regret. I have apologized to Peter and taken accountability with ESPN leadership. I value working with Peter and look forward to this season. My focus will remain on professionalism, teamwork, and being a better teammate moving forward. And this post generated 5.2 million views. So what are my thoughts about what Ryan Clark had to say there? Look, Ryan had to issue that apology. He had to do it. And I'm going to tell you why ESPN forced him to make that apology. Because if you have a situation in which you have an athlete saying to a journalist, moderator, however you want to describe the person, that you're essentially not qualified to be having this discussion because you never played football, then what that does is it then says, in order for you to have a view on anything on ESPN, then you need to play that particular sport. That becomes problematic. Do you know why? Because then you can't have any NFL segments with people like Stephen A. Smith included on them on First Take. Did Stephen A. Smith play football professionally? No. Does he not talk about football? Did Skip Bayless play football professionally? No. Does he not talk about football? And do the countless other people that talk about football that are non-athletes, to put it in his term, don't they talk about sports? They do, right? So then you would have to fire all of these guys that work at ESPN and just hire a bunch of athletes. But obviously, they're not going to do that. They're not going to do that. So you had to get him to go out there, because if they let him get away with that, then number one, they're not protecting their journalists on the network anymore. And there is a place for journalism in sports, just like there's a place for athletes and having their voice in sport. You need a counterbalance. It can't just be one or the other. And I think athletes coming into this, the social media or the media industry have been able to now hold some of the journalists accountable, right? But then again, you have athletes now that have podcasts, and some of them is just one big hug-a-thon where they don't hold themselves accountable, right? So the thing you've been saying, oh, the media members defend each other. Well, that's what happens usually in a lot of these how often do you see an athlete calling out another athlete? And whenever it happens, it usually creates friction. I'll give you guys an example of it. Charles Barkley. Charles Barkley is liked by a lot of fans and disliked by some players. Why? Because he talks about his fellow NBA player. And they don't like that. NBA players generally don't take a strong position on themselves. Why? Because number one, they'll feel like, hey, if I'm saying something negative about this guy, I may be hurting his potential to earn money and all of that. You saw Patrick Beverly when he first made his appearances on ESPN. He wasn't willing to give an honest take on James Harden because that was his guy. Right? That was his guy. But then when he went at Chris Paul, he went at him because he didn't like him. He didn't like him. So the same thing that journalists were doing, where I'm going to praise this guy because I like him and go at that guy because I don't like him, they were doing the same thing. So you need all of these guys in sports, number one. Number two, you don't need to play a sport to have an opinion on it, number one. Number two, you don't need to play a sport to understand it. Now, I'm not saying that a journalist can understand it at the level that an athlete can understand it, because they actually perform that sport. But to say that they are clueless about it and not qualified to have an opinion, come on, that's absurd. That's absurd. You can understand sports by watching it. Otherwise, why do fans watch? You think fans are just watching something they don't understand? Is that how little you think of fans? That they don't even comprehend what it is that they're seeing? Are you being serious? Are you being serious? So when they're cheering for a player that's great, they don't understand that guy's great or not. They don't understand what he just did is great. If he made a great touchdown or a great block or whatever it is, or tackle, they don't get that. They can't understand that. Come on, who are we kidding here? Let's knock this off. Let's knock it off. Let's knock it off. Nobody's saying that these guys they have the expertise that you guys have as athletes. But to say that, come on, they can't understand it. Come on, knock it off, man. If they didn't understand it, why do people patronize the product? Who patronizes something they don't understand? Who does that? Of course people understand the sport. Come on, man. Let's not do that. These are my thoughts. Whatever you guys think, leave your thoughts in the comments. We catch you on the next show. Peace.